Welcome back to Lower Keys Living, everybody. Sorry it's been a little bit since I posted a video. Tore my hamstring pretty severely about 2 weeks ago. Hadn't been out on the boat much, just too painful. Can't really move around too well. You can see even here, not moving all that great on the boat. But wanted to share this with you. If you watch my videos, I'm always pulling trash out of the water. I keep a large trash bag with me, pulling balloons, big pieces of plastic out of the water constantly. And if I see something like this that's going to be a hazard to shipping, I pull it out. And if it's too big, like I've come across pieces of floating dock before, I always let the Coast Guard know of anything that's going to be a hazard to shipping lanes, hazard to other boaters, and they'll either come out and get it or fishing game will come out and get it. But this came across, I was slow trolling, came right up alongside it. Glad I didn't hit this because it was barely below the surface. Wasn't sunk, but it really wasn't floating on top. And it's a pretty new, seriously heavy duty dock line, about 60 feet long, 6 inches diameter. The weeds you see on it, there's no growth on it. That's just sargassum that got caught up on it when I was floating, and there's a ton of sargassum down here. So I pulled this out, hauled that out, and kind of throw that in the pickup truck and haul this off to the dump unless I can find somebody that would want this. I don't have a friend that has a boat big enough for this, but who knows, somebody might want this for a lawn decoration or whatever. Main point of this video is sharing with you, this has been the best fishing season, spring season I've seen since I've been down here. Ton of mahi, ton of wahoo. Grouper season's going really well, and I've got some grouper video coming up here as soon as I get time to put those together. But this one, pointing out because so many people are headed down this way, I'll let you know where the people have been catching the larger mahi and where they're at. This particular spot, and I'm going to show you on my GPS here in a moment. I was out trolling the night before with a friend of mine and his son. His son had a mahi on. It was just as the sun was going down, and had the small mahi on right at this location, and all of a sudden a whole school of mahi came up out of the water. Had to be hundreds of them, and then followed by a massive swordfish that was there feeding on the marlin at this spot, or feeding on the mahi at this spot. And we got a great view of it because it took the mahi that we had on, ran with it for a few seconds, leapt out of the water about 50 feet behind the boat, so got an amazing view of it. Fortunately, I wasn't filming. Didn't want to have my friend's young son on video, so didn't have the cameras on. Wish I had, because it was a spectacular sight, something I'm never going to forget. The pink billy bait lure was clearly hanging out of its mouth, and we were able to fight it for a minute or two before it snapped the line and it was gone. But came out to this spot, again, heavy with the mahi in here, and I'll show you where this is. This is a small one. And I'm going to toss this one back here in a second. Definitely keeper size. It was about 28 inches, but the mahi have been so abundant, I've got enough mahi in the freezer. Unless it's 36 inches or more, I've been tossing the mahi back. But those big 36 inchers, 40 inchers have been so abundant this year. Really not a need to keep those small ones. I figure I'll get enough meat in the freezer for the winter and go on from there and save these small ones. We'll get those next year. Again, here I'm out here this particular day, and where we had the swordfish on was out at about 600 feet. I'm going to get into some detailed close-ups of the GPS on here so you can see exactly where I was and give you an idea. But stay tuned. Let me get into the GPS charts and show you where we're at and get you on some good fish. All right, I'm going to jump right in here, show you where I've been catching fish and where the reports are from people that have been doing really well fishing types of fish. For those of you that watch my videos, you're going to know this area really well. This area of wrecks out here. These are all marks I just dropped in here where I have gotten wahoo recently, nice size wahoo. This area right in here is where the Wilkes-Barre is. This is the Fred Perry right in here, and then you're all the way down to the Kendrick down here. So I frequently do this loop one way or another, vice versa in here. A little deeper than normally what I've normally been getting the wahoo at 175, but been lots of luck catching the wahoo out here, especially late evenings just before sundown is what I'm doing, catching those. But again, out to the Wilkes-Barre, to the Fred Perry, and then over to the Kendrick. All three really nice wrecks holding lots of action. The mahi, for me and all the reports I'm getting, starting the larger mahi about 600 feet all the way out to the ledge 800 feet, but between 600 and 750 feet are where the bigger mahi have been running. I'm going to explain this little curlicue looping here in just a moment when I get to the next slide. All right, so this is zoomed out. This is just south of the, or a few miles south of the American Shoals Lighthouse, south of Cudjoe. I'll show you distances here in a little bit. But I fish this area a lot just because of all the contours. The next slide gives you a little expanded, but all these contours on the bottom tend to hold bait fish a lot more, which brings in the game fish. These marks are all mahi of 30 plus inches that I've caught out here recently. These are from previous trip. These 4 are on the trip that are in the video that I showed you right before this. So got a mahi in here, looped around, ran into a nice group of mahi out here. It's all scattered weed lines, which has been really frustrating. We have tons of sargassum down right here, and it's been so windy. It hasn't formed up in the nice clean weed lines as of yet. Need the winds to calm down a little bit, so there's just winds scattered everywhere. I stopped running my deep diving lures, my planers, just because they're catching so many weeds and it's such a pain to try and haul those in and clean those constantly. And even the billy baits, which I've showed you, these, because of the cone head shape on there, really do a good job of shedding weeds, but even those I'm finding I need to clean constantly on here. So anyway, this trip I was out with one of my really good friends and his young son. They were in town visiting, really wanted to get on some mahi, so we did well with that. But when we were coming in here, this was a nice mahi, and noticed a lot of birds working here on the way out. So came back in here, and right about in here, got another mahi on, and we were bringing it, had it about 50 feet behind the boat. And all of a sudden, I'd never seen anything like it, but the entire school of mahi came out of the water, hundreds of them. And our fish was right in the middle of that, literally, again, 50 feet behind the boat, no more than 2 boat lengths back. And then all of a sudden, our line took off screaming, and right then had a beautiful swordfish clear the water totally with our mahi in its mouth. You can clearly see the pink billy bait hanging out of the swordfish mouth, the billy bait lure. It was not hooked onto that. It had the mahi is what it was going after, not our lure. Which, surprise, it just goes to tell you the abundance of mahi down here, because typically swordfish are really chasing the squid that are out here, but hearing more and more about the swordfish and white marlin, especially in the depths in here, chasing these schools of mahi. So had another friend landed a nice white marlin just off of Marathon, but again at this depth, 600 feet. Had another friend off of Key West, again between 600 and 700 feet, land a white marlin just a few days ago, which I've never heard this many, and I'm seeing on social media a lot of people posting about the white marlin that they're catching. So really good big fish, and even more so, more swordfish around than I've ever heard of. Again, this is probably, I wish I had my cameras going. I wasn't filming because I had my friend's young son on the boat, did not bring a video camera out for that. But wish I had, because man, that image of that swordfish clearing the water is just burned in my memory. And again, this is further out. The really big mahi I've been catching out here between 700 and 850 feet. There's 2 right in here. This is from a previous trip. I've been leaving these marked, but lots of reports. I know the folks that won the mahi tournament last weekend were out here at 750 feet. But the bigger mahi in abundance out here at these deeper depths right now. So if you're coming out here between now, the end of June, beginning of July, and you're not seeing them inshore, come on out here and troll this area. Definitely worth the trip out. And again, this area to the ledge out here, 1,800 feet deep. This is what on that slide that I just showed you, where I caught the really big mahi, those 3. Again, just inside the ledge, but again, 27.5 miles out here. I come out here frequently when I'm going for the bigger mahi, and also I do a lot of deep dropping for tile fish out here, good flat muddy bottom. And again, once you get out here to the 700-foot range, it starts dropping off pretty quickly. But I do have a video coming up just explaining the differences, because I do pack a lot more safety equipment on my boat with me. because when I'm out here by myself this far out to sea. But I'm getting a lot of reports, people having a lot of luck catching swordfish out here between Key West and Marathon, right here off the ledge, just trolling in this 1,800 to 2,000 foot depth. Typically, the swordfish are chasing squid out here. Again, they've been up on the shelf chasing the mahi schools that we have, but people are doing really exceptionally well, a little more consistently, deep dropping for squid. Again, the swordfish like chasing those squid. At night, the squid tend to come up to the surface, so you can surface troll, maybe some mild deep dropping lures for the swordfish early mornings before the squid start diving, or in the evening as they start coming out. But during the day, people are deep dropping with squid out here in this area and doing super well with swordfish. Want to make a trip out here targeting swordfish for a couple of days as soon as our winds calm down a little bit. Looks like it's going to be a few days. But that's it for this video. Hope this helps. Hope you get on some fish if you're getting down here soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on Lower Keys Living.